Hi guys, today's video is going to be about something known as co-counselling. Now for those of you who can't afford life coaching or therapy and sometimes struggle with a lot of stress or mental health issues, co-counselling is an alternative. It's something that you can do for free, something that you can do once a week, and all you need is one other person. So if you're interested, then stay tuned. So just before the break, I said that we would talk about something known as co-counselling. Now, co-counselling, like I said before, is free. It doesn't cost a thing. All you need is 30 to 60 minutes once a week. You need one other person to be your partner in this. So that could be a good friend of yours or somebody that you feel comfortable talking to. The point of this is that the partner acts as a counsellor, and you act as the client. And once you do that, you switch and you are the counsellor and your partner is the client. So it's basically a way of reproducing a therapeutic relationship. Although you're not actually trained professionals, for people that suffer from mental health problems or who have stress in their life and sometimes just need to talk about how they feel, this is very therapeutic in its own way. It's a very supportive relationship because you feel that you can talk to somebody once a week and offload and talk about everything that's on your mind, everything that's bothering you, things you're struggling with. It's quite a useful thing to do. And like I said, all you need is one other person. And you can decide whether you want it to be a 30-minute session or a 60-minute session. So how it works is the person who's acting as the counsellor has to actively listen to what the client says. So if you're the client, the counsellor actively listens without interrupting, without offering any criticisms or any feedback, unless the client requests that at the beginning of the co-counselling session. When you first start this, I would recommend that it's better that you don't have any feedback from the counsellor and that they just listen to you. Active listening means that you listen to the other person and you practice something known as unconditional positive regard. And that means that you accept the person as they are without any judgment, without any criticism, and that you also believe in the possibility that they can improve any difficult situation in their life. Now, the second most important thing is that you need to know how to actively listen. And actively listening means that when the other person is talking, you only show them that you're listening by going, yeah, sure, I understand. And you don't say anything else. So you don't say, oh, that must have been hard or this and that. You just listen. Now, after you do this active listening, you can also do something known as mirroring. So mirroring basically means that you repeat what your client says to you back to them. A mirroring example of that would be that the counsellor says, so let me just make sure I've understood what you've said. You mentioned that you were feeling very depressed today and this was quite overwhelming for you because you struggled at work, you were lagging behind, you couldn't get everything done. Is that right? So that's an example of mirroring. So active listening is the first thing. Practicing unconditional positive regard, so no judgments and no criticisms, and mirroring. Those are the three things that are quite important when you are being a counsellor. Now, for the client, like I said before, if the client requests feedback at the beginning of the session, then you can do that. It all depends on the client. The client is the person that's in charge in the session. The last important thing that I would say in regards to being a good counsellor is that once the client has talked about everything that they need to offload, you can ask them open-ended questions. Now, an open-ended question might be something like, can you tell me more about that? Could you describe the feelings that you had in that situation? It's just things like that. It's open-ended questions that will help your client talk a bit more. Maybe there's things that they haven't revealed to you yet. Maybe there's things that they haven't felt comfortable talking about yet. So that's what you want to do. You want to get them to talk as much as possible and get everything out and feel and leave the session feeling a sense of validation and relief. Now that is the basic concept of co-counselling, and what happens is that you can also turn this around so the counsellor becomes the client and you become the counsellor. And if you think that you're somebody who isn't very good at actively listening, so if you feel, for instance, in your relationship or your marriage, that when your partner talks to you, you always feel the need to interrupt them or fix them or say something, this might be quite a good experiment. This might be just something good for you to do, to practice active listening. And this can help both people. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video today. I really hope it was helpful. Feel free to leave a comment below. I'll see you next Monday.